Hello and welcome to The Talk with Tariro. Today on the program, we are looking at the issue of gender-based violence. We know with the advent of COVID-19, we've read in newspapers, all forms of media, that cases of gender-based violence have increased because of the amount of time that we are getting to spend with our loved ones who are supposed to be our loved ones, and they end up being perpetrators of gender-based violence, getting used to us. In the end, they can actually beat you, they can assault you, they can do all sorts. So today on the program, to discuss this particular issue, we have invited SASA Project. When it comes to issues of gender-based violence, in 2019, we had 24,000 survivors that year. And SASA has just been briefing me as well to say, during just this COVID period from April, they have cases of 6,084 survivors, with their call center accounting for 2,811. Worrying figures indeed. And on the program to help us discuss that particular issue is Diana Sisi Penzi. She's a program officer counseling with SASA Project. Diana, we welcome you to the talk.
Thank you, Tariro.
Yes, we know that one of your issues that you talk about as a pillar is the issue of responses.
Yes.
When we're talking about gender-based violence.
Yes.
Maybe start off by unpacking gender-based violence. What exactly are you experiencing? And then zero in on the response aspect.
Thank you, Tariro. Okay, when you talk about gender-based violence, it's violence that is perpetrated against someone because of their gender, whether they are male or whether they are female. So that's what gender-based violence is. And from the statistics and from the studies that have been done all over the world, and also in Zimbabwe in particular, you find that gender-based violence is mostly perpetrated against women and girls. And when we look at the global figures, we find that 1 in 4 women have suffered gender-based violence. Even in marriage, you find that a girl who has been married, their first sexual experience involved gender-based violence. Because in our custom or in our culture, sometimes people don't believe that a woman can say no to sex. So you find that most women are violated sexually, but it goes unreported because culturally they expect it to be so. So gender-based violence is actually a big phenomenon in our world, and where patriarchy is the principal, sort of what people believe in. Patriarchy has taken over, and women are sort of regarded as, inferior, and women are often regarded as, secondary citizens. So you find that men will dominate, and women will always be at the background, and anything can happen to our women. So you find women and girls, they are the ones who mostly suffer gender-based violence. Notwithstanding, there are a few men also who are reporting gender-based violence, and boys as well who are reporting gender-based violence. But you find that the majority of those who are reporting gender-based violence are women.
And when we're looking at the response aspect, what are we talking about now?
When we are now talking about the response aspect, Tariro, it's what happens when somebody has suffered gender-based violence. That's how we talk about response. And that's where Musasa comes in. We have many pillars that we work with, but our response pillar is one of those where we give direct services to people or somebody who has suffered gender-based violence. How then do we respond to this woman or to this girl or to this man who has come seeking our services because they've suffered gender-based violence? We give psychosocial support. That's how we respond. And mostly people come to us through walk-ins, or they can come to us through the telephone. We have Musasa helpline, which is very useful, especially during this COVID period, where the number that you have just alluded to, the 2,811 clients who have come to us, they've actually reached us through the telephone line. And that's how we've been responding to them. So they come in as walk-in, and some they are referred as partners, the police, the health department, the social welfare, they also refer, and also the other CSOs, they also refer clients to us, and then we respond to them according to their needs. And as you know, to Tariro, when somebody has suffered gender-based violence, they are so vulnerable. Most of them have been stripped of their confidence, their self-esteem. They are so traumatized, they don't know what to do. And as Musasa, that's where we come in, our client-centered approach. We use the client-centered approach to say the client is everything comes to the client is the sender. Whatever response we are going to give is going to center mostly on the client, that we don't do any further harm, and also that we are going to do everything that we do is going to benefit the client. We use that role of beneficence, where the client must benefit. So their security maybe is compromised, their health is compromised, maybe they have nowhere to go because of the physical violence, and they are afraid to go back home. So that's where all the issue of response comes in. How do we respond to somebody who has suffered gender-based violence? And we are guided by our values at Musasa of integrity, respect, confidentiality, because what they lack is respect. You know, when somebody is violated, either sexually or physically or emotionally, their self-respect has been stripped, and they are not really sure what to do next. So we try to build them up when they come to Musasa, to empower them, not only for the present moment while we are giving psychosocial support, but we empower them so that even when they leave us, to go back into the community, they know what to do, and they can be able to live in the community and be able to fulfill their potentials in the community. So that's all the package that we give as a response to a client that has suffered gender-based violence.
Well, that's the response being unpegged. When we come back after the break, we are going to go into detail to then say, when I have an issue of security, when I'm scared even to go home, what do I do? That's why I'm being beaten. So if there is that response, how do I get assisted? We'll hear more from SASA Project. Join us after the break. Welcome back. We continue with our discussion, where today we are looking at gender-based violence responses. Mainly, we want to assist when you are abused at home. You've been beaten, you've been assaulted, anything, any form of abuse that you have faced. Where can you go? Often we become restless. But today we have Musasa Project, which is saying to us, you can actually get help. So I want to find out from you, when I've come to you, and you're talking about counseling, somehow we often say, for us blacks, counseling, does it really work? Does it what? What exactly happens with counseling?
Thank you, Tariro. When somebody comes for counseling, you are saying counseling is a form of an empowerment. It's a talk therapy. You have said that people often say counseling doesn't help, especially in blacks. And I've often heard people saying, I've counseled her. She came to me and I counseled her. And when they've actually not counseled the person, what they've actually done is to give advice, their own advice, which is disempowering to the client. But when we are talking about counseling, we are talking about an empowerment, a talk therapy that is empowering to the client. When the client comes to me, they know what they want. But at the moment, they've been violated. Their resources have been exhausted, and they are not sure which way to take. So in counseling, you empower that client to make an informed choice about their lives so that they can live their lives more meaningfully.
Yes.
If we are going to give them advice, then they are going to use your advice. They are not going to use their own resources to solve their own issues. So that's disempowering. So we aim to empower the client through counseling. During the talk therapy, we talk about options, we talk about possibilities, and then at the end, the client now will sort of refocus among all the issues that have been presented, the options presented. Then they can make their informed choice of what course they want to take in life.
For those maybe, let's say, who can't even come to you, and you are saying you give them options, what are these options that you would give to me when I've been abused, when I've been violated?
Okay. When you come to us, the first question that we worry about is your security. Are you secure? Because you have suffered, violence. Are you secure where you are? Then we find out, we explore the options about your security, whether you are secure. If you are not secure, then we refer you to, we have a shelter, we have shelter services where we can refer you, we can keep you for some time while you are solving your issues or you are pursuing legal or court issues, and then we will give you temporary shelter where we can shelter you until you are ready to make an informed decision about where you want to go and how you want your life to go. And during this shelter stay, you are also empowered through counseling. There's ongoing counseling in the shelters so that you'll be able to make a choice about what you want to do. And also there are legal choices. We have a resident lawyer on the premises at our one-stop center at Msasa head office, where you can explore your legal, chances. What are your legal expectations? What are the legal issues that are involved in the abuse that you are, having? Or whether you want to leave or whether you want to stay, what are your options? As you explore with our counselors, then you are referred to our resident lawyer. And then you can also make informed choices about that. And you can also make informed choices about your, issues like your children also. You want to take your children. Do you want to leave your children, or you want to go to relatives? Where do you want to go? So those are all the various options that you can choose from. And whilst you are in the shelter, we also have life skills branch where we are empowering these women and girls who come to us, who live in our shelters, to be empowered. We don't want them to just sit there and receive counseling. Then what? Because as we all know that counseling doesn't end in the counseling room. Counseling, or to see the results of counseling, is when the client leaves the counseling room and they are in their homes. How are they coping? Have you given them the resources to be able to function normally in their own communities? So we have embarked on a skills project in all our shelters and at the one-stop center, where we teach these women life skills so that when they leave the shelter, it's not only the counseling that they received, but they have been also given life skills to be able to function normally in their communities. Because one of the drivers of gender-based violence is poverty. And you find that a lot of women are not working and they've been disenfranchised in that respect. So because of poverty, they cannot fend for their children. Now, if you are going to give them counseling and let them go without giving them any life skills, what's going to happen to that woman? You haven't really done much. So we ensure that we give a holistic approach to the client when they come in, so that when they leave us, they will really be empowered, both physically, both psychologically, and both mentally, and also they have livelihoods. Yes.
I want to find out, there are instances where somebody would come when I've just been abused. I'm angry with this husband of mine. I'm coming to you and I'm reporting. Yes, I've gone back home. Then I'm sweet-talked. Maybe we had already moved to the stage of taking it to the legal side. And then later on, I'm saying, no, we've solved our problems. I'm happy. Do you meet those?
Yes. We often meet women and girls who come and they say that, where I went home and I've resolved with my husband, I want to withdraw my case, and yet it has already been reported. But what we've discovered is that a lot of women were being sweet-talked and they were withdrawing their cases. And what happens? A month or a few weeks down the line, they come back to us. They've been abused again. because an abuser is an abuser.
Exactly.
They will continue with their habits of abusing this woman. So what the government of Zimbabwe has said that if somebody comes and reports gender-based violence and then they want to withdraw, we are not going to withdraw it.
That's good.
It will continue.
Yes.
The case will continue, and then whatever the resolution will come at court, they will not stop the court process. So I think that's good for women because of the results that I've just told you, that they come and withdraw, and the next time they come again, they've been abused again. Yes.
Well, you heard there, an abuser is always an abuser. Sadly, we have had some women even losing their lives after being sweet-talked. So from what we are hearing, when abuse has happened, and definitely I would like to applaud the government, because sometimes we need to empower the woman through acting on their behalf. Like the poverty that she talked about, when I know this is the breadwinner, then I'm worried to then say what will happen to me tomorrow. We need to make every effort to stop abuse. Join us after the break. We continue with our discussion where today we are looking at the issue of gender-based violence. I want to find out from you, Diana, in this COVID era, abuse, we are saying it has increased within the homes. How are you responding? We know there are issues of social distancing, there are issues of restricted movements. So how are you responding?
Thank you, Tariro. During this COVID period, we've actually had more numbers of women who have called out, who have come to us to seek help because of gender-based violence. And like you rightly attributed it in the first instance to couples or families staying together, and also exacerbated by this economic meltdowns. There's not enough food, there's not enough money in the house. So something which is very small, which never used to cause problems or issues before, it's now a big issue. They start quarreling. So a lot of women are coming, a lot of girls are coming with physical violence especially. There's a lot of physical violence which is happening. So they are phoning us. They are using the helpline. We have the toll-free line. And recently we've increased our toll-free line. We have the Econet. We have the Tel 1 as well. Tel 1. We are in the process of also of upgrading our call center so that we can receive more calls to that effect. So a lot of women are coming. They are referred either by friends, either by our partners, whether from hospitals and also the police. They are referring clients to us, and we have community-based services in the CBSs in the communities who are also referring clients to us. So we respond to them through that helpline. And some, what we've also discovered is that they need help with their medicals. So what we normally do, we have a medical fund, we refer them to the hospitals where they receive help. And the police, to that effect, they've really been very helpful because they've been affording to give them letters so that they can, to ease the movement of the clients, they can be able to access, some of these services. And the social welfare, we're working together very well, our referral pathway, and the health system, they've also responded. Some hospitals, they've even gone to the extent of saying, if somebody is coming, they've been violated or it's physical violence, they need to be treated. They treat them, and we just phone them to say that we'll be able to settle the bills. They've been able to do that. So we've managed to respond to a lot of survivors during this COVID period. And we also have a shuttle. In some instances, they don't have transport. We have a shuttle at Msasa that ferries clients to get the other services that they want. And we've maintained a skeleton of staff at our office at 64 Selu Avenue, corner 7th Avenue. Skeleton staff that will respond to emergencies. Because sometimes there are emergencies where a woman really cannot go back home. They are not safe in their homes. They have to come to Msasa, to us, or they are seeking shelter. Or the police have referred that woman to come for shelter. So the skeleton staff will respond on a face-to-face basis to these clients who come to us, notwithstanding that we are actually applying the COVID rules, the who regulated COVID rules, so that we ensure that our clients and the staff at the office are protected from COVID-19.
I'm watching you at home and I'm being abused. What are the steps that I need to take?
The steps that you are going to take, Tariro, if you are being abused, we tell all our audience to phone our toll-free lines that will be given at the end of the program.
Are your toll-free lines always answered? Because we often hear people complaining that toll-free lines, they're just given, but when you phone, nobody answers. With you dealing with issues of gender-based violence, are you any different?
We are different, Tariro. We are different. Our toll-free lines are 24 hours. They are working for 24 hours. There are counselors at the end who are ready to answer and to help all the clients who phone our toll-free lines. Like you rightly said that some people complain that they are not being answered. You know what happens? It will be one number, and then there will be so many clients who are phoning in.
Yeah.
Maybe when somebody phones, there are 4 people at a time who are talking on that line, and then maybe they fail to get through, and they think that our toll-free lines are not being answered. No, they are 24 hours operating. Anyone, anytime can phone our toll-free lines and they can get help. Yes.
I'm going to put you on the spot. There is a misconception or a perception out there that you are there to break marriages, because once a woman comes to you, then you're telling them, leave your abusive husband, leave your abusive husband. Enlighten Zimbabweans to say, what do you stand for?
Musasa stands for happy families, empowered families, families where every woman and every girl and every man for that matter, they can operate independently, they can reach their full potential free from violence. That's what Musasa stands for. We want to see, we have a vision of seeing everybody, every woman and every girl being able to develop their full potential without violence, a peaceful Zimbabwe, peaceful homes. We want to build homes. We don't encourage women who come to us to break their marriages. That's why we have the legal experts on our premises to advise women on best options to protect them. And that's why we have counselors also to help women, to empower them so that they can be able to exploit their full potentials without having their confidence stripped, their self-esteem stripped, because you know that when your confidence and your self-esteem has been stripped, you cannot, participate in development, Tariro.
Definitely. What is
Yes.
your parting shot in 30 seconds?
As Zimbabweans, Musasa is there to protect you. Like the big tree that we are, Musasa tree, we are there to protect women and girls so that you can live your lives to your full potential, and so that you can also participate in development. We don't break marriages. We want marriages to prosper, and we also offer couple counseling so that we build up marriages. Thank you, Tariro.
Yes, that's all we had for you today. For the next two more weeks, we are still going to continue addressing issues of gender-based violence. And like what you heard from Diana, what we want to see in Zimbabwe are happy and flourishing families, flourishing relationships. If you are an abuser, a potential abuser, a perpetrator of gender-based violence, food for thought. Until next week, it's goodbye for now.